What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to have to clear my throat. The Locked On Pirates podcast. We are officially in the month of November, and my name is Ethan Smith, your host who does the most. I hope you guys are all having a phenomenal start to the month of November. I hope you all had a phenomenal Halloween weekend. Again, thank you to everybody who sent me in birthday wishes. I really appreciated it. It meant a lot, and I had a very fun birthday. But again, it is all business here on the Locked On Pirates podcast. And with the player review series wrapping up yesterday after talking about the outfield a little bit, we now move into off-season talk for the most part. We're going to be talking a lot over the next week or so. Mainly today, we're talking about 5 free agents that I think the Pirates should definitely go after. Not saying they will go after them. I would just say that I would enjoy these guys being on the team next year. And I'm also not saying go sign all 5 of these guys. I'm just giving this disclaimer now. Just guys that the Pirates should have their eye on in 2022, 2023 free agency, as well as some players that the Pirates could move on from via trade in the system right now. There are some guys that I think the Pirates could actually get some value back from if they decided to move on from them. So we'll see if the Pirates decide to do that, but we're going to get into that and more all today here on the Locked On Pirates podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at MVP_Ethan or at Locked On Pirates for all of your coverage of the Pittsburgh Pirates year round, including the minor leagues and MLB news. Of course, Game 3 of the World Series was postponed tonight, so maybe we'll get into a little bit of that as we end the episode. Today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. More on them later. With that said, let's have a fun episode, everybody.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to that Pirates podcast, everybody. I hope you all have been enjoying just this wonderful weather that we've been getting. I know I'm in Savannah, but the weather has been absolutely phenomenal. Hope you guys have been enjoying the World Series. If you're watching, I hope you've been enjoying NFL football, hockey, basketball. Everything is here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Of course, in Pittsburgh, you have Locked On Steelers with Christopher Carter, Locked On Penguins with Hunter Hodes, and Locked On Pitt Panthers with Nick Farbaugh. So make sure you guys go check them all out, as well as I am the full culmination of the Pittsburgh fandom here on the Locked On Podcast Network. But also, if you're looking to root for other teams, make sure you go just any part of the Locked On Network. Locked On NFL, Locked on MLB, Locked On MLB, Locked On NHL, Locked On College Football for all the conferences. It's all over the place, and you can have fun here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It is November 1st. Usually with the turn of November, we would already be talking about who won the World Series, or at least wrapping it up. Now that the season started a little bit later, the World Series is only in Game 3 today. So the only 2 teams not in off-season preparation right now are the Philadelphia Phillies and the Houston Astros. The Pirates have not played a game in nearly a month, and their off-season, of course, has been pretty, I wouldn't say lackluster, but really the only thing that I've seen that I remember happening was Jose Godoy being optioned after the Pirates picked up Ali Sanchez. No big moves yet. But if the Pirates do want 2023 to be a stepping stone towards contention, which we're going to talk about that later this week, about what needs to happen for this team to eventually get back to contention, you got to sign some free agents. Now, sorry, guys. I'm not saying go out and sign Aaron Judge or Jacob deGrom or Max Scherzer or any of these marquee guys that you would think of for the Pittsburgh Pirates that obviously are not in the cards anyway. But there are some guys, and I picked from 5 here, that I think the Pirates could definitely go after, mainly because of, 1, positions of need, 2, they're affordable players, and 3, they're not that out of the cards in terms of a guy that I could expect coming here and playing, and it's not something that the Pirates couldn't do. Not saying it's something the Pirates will do, but I was taking that into account when selecting these guys. So we're going to start here with Sean Manaea. who longtime Oakland Athletic, moves to the San Diego Padres this season in their pursuit for a playoff run. And you look at Manaea over the course of his entire career. I mean, the guy is a 4.06 career ERA. He's pitched over 800 innings. The dude is absolutely awesome. He's a left-handed pitcher, something the Pirates are definitely going to need to take a look at in free agency because once again, with the departure of Jose Quintana via trade to St. Louis, the Pirates are left without a left-handed pitcher again. And it's very frustrating because you want to talk about the fact that the Pirates do have a half-decent pitching staff right now with Mitch Keller, Roansy Contreras, the possibility of Luis Ortiz picking it up, JT Brubaker, the list goes on and on and on. But you can't have 5 righties in your rotation all the time. You can if you want to. It's not very fruitful unless you're talking about the 5 best right-handed pitchers in the league, which the Pirates obviously do not have. One of the more intriguing parts to Sean Manaea that I enjoyed was Spot Track only had him listed, I think, at like an $11 million contract, like for what he could potentially be getting. I think that is absolutely phenomenal. I think that's something the Pirates could definitely do. And one of the things that he definitely does well is if you're on YouTube and you slide over here where my hand is right now, you look at the base on balls to strikeout ratio, and it is just crazy. I mean, over his career, 797 strikeouts to 230 walks. This year, you've seen it the last 2 years in Oakland and San Diego that it did kind of uptick a little bit from what he was used to. That 2017 year was also a really weird year for him on that one, where he also had his third most strikeouts of his career. But I do look at 2021 is kind of the Sean Manaea breakout year. 194 strikeouts, 41 walks, a 1.23 whip over 179 and one-thirds innings, 3.91 ERA, and 32 games started. If the Pirates could pick up that kind of guy, that would be absolutely phenomenal for this team moving forward. And Manaea, again, he kind of feels like the kind of guy that the Pirates wouldn't go after. But what I'm saying and suggesting is he is a guy that the Pirates can go after. He's not going to be getting $20 to $25 million a year, I don't think. Although you look at the fact that this year, 4.96 ERA across in San Diego, not terrible, but also not great. But at the end of the day, it's better than what the Pirates have had at their disposal for a lot of the times outside of Mitch Keller and Roansy Contreras until we got to see a couple of other guys make some moments. So that's Sean Manaea. Then we're going to move to Andrew Heaney, who longtime Angel, eventually moves to the Dodgers, started his career in Miami. And the interesting thing about Andrew Heaney is he's a 4.56 career guy, but if you start in 2018, that's when he had that 4.15 ERA in Los Angeles as an Angel, and that was easily his best year of his career. I mean, 180 innings pitched. He had 180 strikeouts, 45 base on balls, a 1.2 WHIP, a 4.15 ERA, one complete game over 30 starts. Andrew Heaney is one of those interesting ones because I don't think he's a guy the Dodgers would necessarily get rid of, mainly because he is actually going to be a pretty affordable option in free agency. Then you take a look at this year with him, and he is getting older. He's around the age of 31. A 3.1 ERA with over 72 innings. The Pirates would take that in a heartbeat, and I would take that in a heartbeat. Over those 72 innings, the guy had 110 strikeouts and 19 walks. What does that tell me? He's going to give you strikes, he's going to give you quality innings, and he's going to make sure the guys are not on base via the free pass. Andrew Heaney would be, I think, definitely a Jose Quintana-esque acquisition for the Pittsburgh Pirates in the terms of the fact that he is already 31, and I don't think he would have many future plans on this team. Sean Manaea kind of in that same boat, even though he's only 30. But when you're looking at Andrew Heaney, this is a guy that, say you give him a 2-year deal on 9 million AAV, so 2 years, $18 million, and he has a 2022 season like he did with the Dodgers, you keep him around. I mean, 31 years old might sound very old, especially for a Pirates team that is in rebuild mode, or at least getting past that rebuild mode and into kind of retool mode. That's the kind of guy that you can rely on to give you 5 innings a game and 5 or 6 innings a game every single start, and keep his ERA down. I mean, he's a career 4.56 guy. That's a very good omen to have. And Andrew Heaney, a guy that I think the Pirates should look at. A guy that might be out of the cards for them, but definitely has a loaded career is Martin Perez, who started his career in Texas, never really found it in Texas. I mean, he had 2017 wasn't a bad year for him. 2016 wasn't a bad year for him either. 2013 was actually one of his better years with the Rangers. Then he heads out in 2018, goes to Minnesota, goes to Boston for 2 years, and then he came back to Texas this year with a 12-8 record, 2.89 ERA over 32 starts, nearly 200 innings pitched, 169 strikeouts and 69 walks with a 1.26 whip and a 2.41 opponent's average, which of course was his career best outside of 2020 when he had the 2.40 average. Martin Perez was a revelation this year. A revelation this year. You look over his entire career, and he's kind of the guy that you look at as quality, but you don't see him as like great. He's not like a great pitcher. But again, left-handed pitchers are going to be at a premium for this Pirates team. They are going to need to go find one. They're going to probably go find one again. And I'm not ruling out the idea of Jose Quintana returning to this team on a multi-year deal, the way he pitched last year in Pittsburgh and then pitched in St. Louis. Martin Perez, on the other hand, you're looking at a guy who has nearly 1,300 innings under his belt of Major League Baseball. A quality left-handed pitcher who can make guys strike out, hits the zone very well, has a good whip on his career at a 1.45, 4.43 ERA over his career, so he keeps the runs down. Has a phenomenal fastball, by the way. I love his fastball, and I think he would pitch well in PNC Park. And of the three, as you can see here, this was Martin Perez, this was Andrew Heaney, and this was Sean Manaea. So as you can see, of these guys, Perez definitely has the experience factor. I would say of these three, Sean Manaea would be the best option. And if I had to choose between the three and the Pirates were actually looking at all of them, he would be the best option. But these are the kind of guys that I think the Pirates are going to be looked at as far as pitching. So now that my face is back on the screen, you know that it's time to talk about the wonderful people over at Bet Online. Of course, Bet Online is where you can do all of your sports betting this season. You already have, I mentioned earlier, you already have football, you already have basketball, you already have hockey. The World Series is still going fresh, and you know, there's a lot going on. Basketball, football, baseball, hockey. It's all going on right now. And betonline.net is your number one source for betting football and the start of the new basketball season. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth analysis on every game. And as always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all of your sports wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all of your favorite games and events, including Major League Baseball, MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. And Bet Online is where the game starts. Of course, you can bet on Game 3 between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Houston Astros tonight. So we'll see how that game goes. But two more free agents that I think we should definitely be looking at as Pirates fans as potential possibilities due to fit, due to position need, and due to the guys just actually being pretty good baseball players. You know the first one. That looked familiar to you. If you're on YouTube, that probably looks very, very familiar to you. That is Joshua Bell. Josh Bell, of course, drafted by the brought in, starts his career with the Pittsburgh Pirates at the major league level, becomes a pretty good baseball player until 2020. Traded to the Washington Nationals in the 2020-2021 offseason for Will Crow and Eddie Yean. Stays with Washington through 2022 until the trade deadline when the Padres, who went all for it and lost to the Phillies in the NLCS, picked up his services. The thing is with Josh Bell is his defense has always been his Achilles heel. There's always been no doubt in that. I've really started covering the Pirates on my own around 2017. And Josh Bell, Obviously, 2019 was his best year. That was his all-star year. 277, 367, 589, 936 slash line. I mean, the kid was awesome. 37 home runs, 116 RBIs. That's what a lot of people were saying. Okay, Josh Bell could be a part of this team for a while. The 2020 COVID year comes around and he just fell off a cliff. Hasn't been the same guy since. Didn't have a bad year in 2021 for Washington. 261, 27 home runs, 88 RBIs. The main reason I wouldn't mind a reunion with Josh Bell is because it's obvious that the Pirates have a hole at first base right now. They need to fill that hole. Josh Bell would be a guy that already knows the Pittsburgh Pirates pretty well. He's a guy that is going to bring you, say, 20 home runs and 80 RBIs a year. He can hold firm for a while. I would love him on a 2 or 3 year deal. He would hold firm that position for a good amount of time. And then once you say Malcolm Nunez or Mason Martin or another guy goes to first base and is ready to take over that position, you then make the move to possibly trade him again or just let him finish his career in Pittsburgh and slide over as a DH, because I would not mind Josh Bell as a designated hitter. But they do have such a big hole at first base that they need somebody who is going to both play defense at that position as well as hit the baseball well. Josh Bell's defense has picked up a little bit since he left. I don't still think that he's that great defensively, but I think the bat would just mean more than the defense would at this current juncture. Then I mentioned another player here who pretty much has played his whole career in San Diego, and that's Will Myers. Will Myers already talked about his Padres tenure, saying it was one of the best times he's ever had. It does appear that he will be leaving San Diego in favor of other pastures. Of course, started his career in Tampa Bay in 2013, came out of the gates hot. 293, 354, 478, 832 with a 293 average, over 335 at bats in his rookie season. Since then, he's always been a guy around that 240 to 260 range is where he usually sits, but it's more of the fact that he's a great defensive outfielder. I think he could make the switch to first base if the Pirates wanted to go that route. 30 home runs, 74 RBIs in 2017 was his most home runs, 28 and 94 behind that in 2016. You look at 2019, 2020, and 2021, though, 18 home runs, 15 home runs, 17 home runs, 239, 288, 256. This year, only 7 home runs and 41 RBIs, but a 261, 315, 398, 713 average. I think the Pirates could keep a close eye on a guy like Will Myers. He's kind of going down the end of his career a little bit, but he's still going to bring you in a 250 to 260 batting average guy. He's going to make sure that you're taken care of in the outfield defensively. And he's just that kind of guy that would solidify the outfield for the Pirates now. And bring in Will Myers and stay him in the outfield. You're talking about Jack Sawinski, Will Myers, and Brian Reynolds out there. It's not a bad outfield. Then you can supplement the guys like Cal Mitchell, Kanan Smith and Jigba, G1 Bay, and Tucupita Marcano in there when those guys needs off days. Why do good teams win in baseball? Because they have good depth. I think that this would be a move for the Pirates to solidify that right field spot. Let left field kind of be the training ground for who you think is going to be there for a while. And let Will Myers and Brian Reynolds have a good season together in the outfield. That's something I could definitely see the Pirates exploring. So those are just 5 guys that I looked at. Of course, there's more that the Pirates could definitely be going after. But if we're going to take a look at what the Pirates could do internally in terms of trading guys away, Kevin Newman obviously is a guy that is always going to be on that list. He has been for a while. His defense has been his calling card for his entire career. He's always been a great player at that position. He always will be. Right now, with the way the shift rules are going to be in place, I do think they need to keep Kevin Newman. He's a guy that I think the Pirates should keep for his defense alone. And if his bat comes around like it did last year, I think you have to keep him around at that point, right? But there are other guys too. If you're not going to give Travis Swaggerty an actual shot, how about you actually just trade the guy for something of value? I did see that sorry, the Guardians are actually in cahoots of talking about trading Aaron Savali. Send him Travis Swaggerty. Send him another prospect. G1 Bay, I think, is going to be another guy that might get left out of the mold here. Diego Castillo is another name that you could throw out there that might get left out of the mold here. Ben Gamel is another guy I think the Pirates should definitely explore trading due to the fact that they already have so much outfielding depth at their disposal that they need to just like Ben Gamel's awesome, energy player, but there really is no need for him on this team anymore. For the Pirates, as mentioned, I mentioned those five guys. I think at this point, and we'll get into this in future episodes throughout the offseason, they got to start making moves at some point. You got to start making moves for starting pitching. You have to start making moves for a first baseman. The outfield, I can understand just because you have so much going on there that you still need to get a look at. I can understand not going out and signing a guy out of the outfield yet. But for the Pirates to be successful in 2023 and take that next step, they're going to have to make some moves that they otherwise would not. I mean, trading prospects for starting pitching or first baseman piece, picking up these guys in free agency, going to the Rule 5 draft and seeing somebody that you might like at one of those positions to fill the need. The Pirates are going to have to do that, but we are going to be covering that all and more throughout the rest of the offseason. Guys, my name is Ethan Smith of the Locked On Pirates podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today on Tuesday, November 1st. On tomorrow's episode, it is Mailbag Wednesday. We will be answering any and all questions that come in from you guys, the best fan base that Locked On has to offer. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and I will see you on the flip side.